whilst things are in lockdown. So thank you for joining us this evening. Friday evening already, but nonetheless, I'm sure you're all celebrating the weekend, even though there's not much you can do. Anyway, you can join us this evening because we're going to be talking all about Enfield Poltergeist, and we want you to interact with us. So if you're listening at home, watching at home, make sure you jump on, let your comments be known, and interact with us this evening. With us as well is James.
Hello there. You can.
He's very quiet at the moment, isn't he? Can you hear him?
Can you hear me? Okay.
He's very quiet.
No.
I'll tell you a secret. There's
No.
always something wrong with James's computer.
It's not. That's normally yours. For some reason,
So,
my computer. Oh well.
whilst James does whatever he's trying to do over there, because he's very, very quiet, we are talking about Enfield Poltergeist. Now, if you're anybody in the paranormal, you should know what the Enfield Poltergeist is, because it is one of the most famous cases here in Britain. Now, we're going right back to the 1970s here. In fact, even more recently, even one of the Conjuring movies was based on, well, I say based on the Enfield Poltergeist. It was very loosely based on the Enfield Poltergeist. And James disappeared. It's just me on my own. And I don't know where he's gone, but I'm sure he'll be back very soon. Firstly, welcome to the show this evening, Alison. You've got me and James with you for a while. If you can manage to start his connection, something about him and his connection, isn't there? Have you noticed? It's never me; it's always him. So we're talking about the Enfield Poltergeist, and it is, like I said, one of the most famous cases. Yes, it's had a TV show from Sky Living a few years ago. If you saw that, it was to be fair, it was a pretty good. Yeah, like the first episode was pretty accurate. We're going back now to the 1970s when actually it was rife actually being haunted or having your home haunted. So this happened at Green Street, in a council house in Enfield in London. First started off in 1977 and ran right through to 1979, where two sisters, aged 11 and 13, claimed they were experiencing paranormal phenomena. Now, this was recorded by several newspapers. Even a couple of police constables claimed they saw someone they couldn't explain as well. So, at the time, it was investigated by a very famous, well, now very famous, wasn't quite then, investigator from the Society of Psychical Research called Maurice Grosse, and also it was taken on by a writer as well called Guy Lyon Playfair. So, if you've seen the program about it, you'll no doubt know a little bit about this situation. But since it's happened, even right now, people are still debating how legitimate it was. Was the house really haunted, or was it just simply an act of people trying to, I don't know, get out there, get in the media, make a bit of money? Who knows? So, as we said before, a lot of people claimed they experienced. I'm going to reel off some of the claims right here. By the way, Sophie is here. Hello, welcome to the show. Oh look, Sophie has found it. Hello, you got me on my own at the moment. We've lost James. He's somewhere in the atmosphere. Obviously, he's at home because he should be. We're talking about this Enfield Poltergeist. Then. So, now the mother Peggy Hodgson. Well, she called the police at first. Well, actually, she didn't. She called the police a bit later on. She called a newspaper first, but then called the police, claiming that she witnessed furniture moving on its own, and that actually happened in the girl's bedroom. And it was one night where she thought the kids were playing about. So as you do as a parent, you got there and give them a bit of a telling off. They said that they weren't doing it, that someone else was doing it, but they couldn't see the person. She, as you would, went, "Well, I don't believe you." And so it's claimed. Now, Margaret and Janet, the two kids, said, "No, it's definitely this ghost that was doing it." Alison, you're quite right. Allegedly a poltergeist. And this came from lots of claims. There's things about things being moved, strange voices, and children levitating, which people saw outside the window of the property and took photos of. Right through things being thrown across the room as well. So loads of strange things happened in that very famous case. Now, originally, it was covered by the Daily Mail and the Daily Mirror. until the reports ended around 1979. But since then, and still to this current day, people claim it wasn't real. Now, Morris Gross, very well-known paranormal investigator at the time, he wanted a really good case to sink his teeth into. He wanted something really good that was going to scare him. Do you know what? I sympathise with him here. Like me, I'd love to have a good old spooky story like that to get my teeth into as well. But he came along to the house and went, you know what? I'm going to see if this really is a ghost. If there really is something happening here. And so he came along to the house. He actually spent quite a lot of time staying there, staying overnight as well, to see if he could come across the paranormal phenomenon for himself. And remarkably, he was recording quite a lot of it as well. So some of it was on tape, not the kind of tape we've got today. It was no digital sort of recordings in those days. But on the recordings, there claimed to be ghost voices. And to further back up that claim, that it wasn't real, because we're looking at both sides here. When you listen to one of the recordings, he did admit to hearing one of the girls say, I think we need to fake more stuff because nothing's happening and people start losing interest. Maybe the stuff was happening, they kind of played it down a little bit after that. Who knows? Hopefully, we've got James with us while we look at things to come. Hello to Alison and Sophie for joining us this evening. Thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. And he's here!
Yes, I'm here. Can you
I
hear
think.
me okay?
You've got rubbish sound.
What?
It's the ghost of Green Street Lane, wherever it is,
Can you not hear me?
affecting you. I don't know. So, we're looking to say then, I don't know what he's doing now, but everybody at home can see a whole view of his bedroom,
Well, can you hear me okay?
which you don't want to see. I can believe you, believe me. Tom has been in touch this evening. Thank you so much for being a part of the show as well. We can always rely on Tom, get involved. You can actually YouTube the original audio. Yeah, you can. He's gone again. And so, hello, yeah. You might be here this evening. Okay, James, yeah, cool. Yes, as we said, you can hear the original recordings on the internet. Now, people these days are claiming that those voices couldn't have been recreated. In fact, there's actually a video of Margaret, I believe, is it Margaret? I can't remember, one of the girls who had this voice. I can't really do an impression of it. Coming through a bit like this kind of voice. And to further back up that claim, someone came forward and said it was their relative who lived in the house because they got a name of this person, and that he did die in the chair downstairs, which is what the ghosts had claimed. So, is it purely an incident, or is it a good, I don't know, a good story that managed to be real off the back of some information that came from a library? Who knows? Now, James, can you nod your head if you're ready? I can see you guys can't see him. He's there somewhere. No. Oh, yeah. He's gone. Yeah, it's going to be alright tonight. So, get in touch with me. Let me know what you think. Was the poltergeist case at Enfield real, or was it not? Maybe you've seen The Conjuring, which is very loosely based on it, because the Warrens, who are very famous, of course, and been featured in those Conjuring films, did actually go to the house, as many people did. James, we're hoping he's actually going to be with us because it's not going well tonight, is it, on the old James front?
Hello.
Is he here?
Can you hear me better?
We can hear him a little bit better, can't we? James, can you hear us okay?
Yes. I don't know why we had problems last Friday, even last Sunday.
Yes. Now, I have to say, on James's end, mine's been absolutely fine, just putting it out there. No, Alison, we haven't got the witch today. She came out just for the special last week. But we have got James, hopefully.
Yes.
I'm not sure which is scary, to be honest.
Hi.
James, we're talking about the Enfield Poltergeist. What do you know about it?
The Enfield Poltergeist, I know it's a very interesting case, and I know it's a case that me and you can never actually agree on because we've both got very different views. I know you already mentioned about. Did you mention about Bill downing a chair? How far did you actually get?
Yes, we mentioned that the name of the name of the person down the chair was a ghost called Bill, spelled like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, a family member did come forward and say, actually, I do know that person. He was a relative of mine, and he did live in that house. And he did die in the chair. Can I ask a question? Why did they have his chair there?
I don't know. I don't know if anyone's ever asked him that question, because I know recently they have actually done a few interviews talking about that Enfield Poltergeist. Of course, when I mean ask them, I mean referring to the two daughters.
Yes, and Margaret and Janet, who of course do actually do a fair few interviews in TV shows about the subject nowadays. But we should also point out when we're talking about if it's real or not, is that the mother actually lived in the house for about 30 years after it all stopped and didn't seem scared, nothing happened. So either the ghost went, well, I'm fed up, I've done what I need to do, I'm going home to wherever ghosts go. Or was it? Because it was quite common, and we have to say these views don't reflect supernatural news, they don't reflect supernatural talks, they're purely our own debate going on here. What we need to find out is, was it a ruse to try and get a different property? Because back in those days, it was well known as well for people to do this. In fact, we've had it happen in modern days where people have come to us and said, please can you say my home is haunted before we get a better council property? Was this one of those cases?
I think the thing is, I know we've debated this many, many times. It's very easy to say that was the case, but there was a lot of bits that just don't add up. And I think when you've got like police reports and stuff like that to say that they actually went in there and experienced something, whether it's a Lego big being thrown or other stuff being thrown at them, or even like at the photographers and stuff like that went there.
Yeah, Alison's asked a good point actually. Why do we both have opposing views? I'm always open to these kind of things, but I think the reason why my views are very open as such is because now if I was a person in a house and I had this strange stuff happen, I saw a cabinet move, I saw a vase move, I saw people levitating. I'm not being funny. The first thing I would not do is call a newspaper. Why would you call a newspaper straight away? You should have called the police or something, wouldn't you? But they went straight to the Daily Mirror, which in my view was a bit of a strange thing to do. There was also, again, Morris Gross admitted that he had a recording of the girls having a chat, and one of them saying, I think we need to create more stuff because people are losing interest. Something along those lines. I wasn't there, so I can't obviously comment on it. And these are just our own views, not those of supernatural news or supernatural tours and events. They're just our views. And I just don't know why you would go down that route. I mean, if they hadn't gone to the Daily Mirror first, I probably wouldn't have had these views. But to me, it just seemed like a way of getting media involved straight away to get a high profile story out there. And yeah, as Alan said, maybe potentially to make money out of it.
See, my personal belief is there was actually something there happening. Not going to say everything was real because, like you even said yourself, Morris Groves did actually have a recording of her children saying about faking something. But I think for the amount of people that did actually witness the paranormal activity there, it's got to be something. Now, of course, go back about, I guess, 8 years ago or so, Uni did actually analyse that recording for Voice of Bill, where he's, saying that he sat down and died in a chair. It's quite a creepy voice, don't get me wrong. Now, they actually...
Yes, I know.
Yeah, they actually put the recording through a computer and said it's very odd because it doesn't come from the same sound levels as what a human being normally produces. And they
Well, that can't be true because if that was Bill talking, surely Bill spoke like that in real life.
well,
That's his voice. How could it be? How could it be impossible?
maybe what I mean is, they said it couldn't have been something human making that noise.
But Bill was a human, though, wasn't he?
Um,
He was a living person like me and you. So why, if he can do it when he was alive, why can't he do it when he's dead?
well, there you go. I guess this whole form of possession again. which is on a whole different subject to a different level.
But she is saying she got possessed because now watch one of the videos. Right, I think it's BBC News. I think went around the house and filmed at the time. Two girls. This is one that I remember. They were sat on the sofa, and the news person's asking them about this voice. The girls are laughing, and she does the voice like that. This kind of thing. Now, why would you find that funny? Why are the girls laughing? Because if they're that generally scared, would you be laughing?
Yeah, of course. I guess some of it doesn't make sense.
Could argue it's a nervous laugh, I know, but
Some of it doesn't. So I'm just trying to see if I can find the voice clip of.
oh yeah, let's see if we can find the voice clip because it is a bit shy. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't sound far of what the noise I just said, really, and I can do it.
And, some of it. No, just trying to see if I can find the voice clip of.
Yeah, let's see if we can find the voice clip because it is a bit shy. I can hear me, I can't hear. Let's see what we can do here. See if we can... Philip said if I heard something like that, I would kind of need the duvet not come back out. I think most people probably would do that, in fairness. Especially young girls, being that young as well, teenagers and everything.
Sorry, can you actually hear the recording in the background?
Give it a go.
Can you squeak the bed?
Okay, hang on.
That's good, darling.
So what I'll do is, because this recording actually goes on quite long, I will stick it up on the comment box. So if anyone does want to listen while we're talking,
Yes.
let's hear your views. This one is.
Yeah, hey, here your views. Alison, yes, I did see the program that Sky did a couple of years ago. Yeah, with Timothy Spaulding. So, now that actual program, the first episode I thought was fairly accurate. As time goes by, of course, they've got to spice it up a little bit and make it more interesting. But at least it's more factual than. Oh, we got a cat joining us this evening. It's more factual than the Conjuring episode of it. Alison said she's heard that voice. She heard the voice be like that, innit? Did you do your fuel mobile, James?
I actually done it through the laptop because I'm on the app through my mobile.
We've got a cat joining us this evening, ladies and gentlemen. He's actually been on the show longer than James this evening.
Yeah, he wants to be involved in it.
So, we want to hear your views on it. Obviously, Eddie the cat wants to have his views on it as well. Does he believe in it?
Sorry, Andrew?
Does Eddie believe in this situation?
You reckon? Do you believe in it?
The cat's putting me off.
He's not meowing, so that makes a change.
Something so different. Let us know your thoughts. We want to know from you. Do you think that the Enfield Poltergeist is real?
I will actually.
James, you say you think it is real, right?
I will actually say, for people that's not seen the documentaries and stuff, there's some brilliant documentaries on YouTube, and of course with a recent film that came out, what's it, 2 years ago, based around the Enfield Poltergeist. It made people go back and visit it again, and what it's all about. And you think BBC done a documentary, was it Strangest Places? And Both Haunted done one.
You're about Strange but True.
Oh yeah, sorry, Strange but True. How could I get that mixed up?
TV, yeah.
But
Now I've got the recording on my phone. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to hear it. Let's just give it a whirl because it might be difficult coming from my phone, but we'll try it.
Say Dr. Bell.
Takes a bit of time.
Can you squeak the bed? I can't hear you talking.
So that's Morris Gross.
Say Dr. Belloc. Come on. Come on, say it for me, Dr. Belloc. Belloc.
So that noise at the end, oh, it's not more. That noise at the end of it, man, that apparently is the ghost of Bill Chilton.
See, Alison has put a comment up about it being teenage girls' hormones, which is very interesting because a lot of poltergeist activity does happen around when girls going through puberty and stuff like that, or teenagers, should I say?
Yeah, there's been a lot of that, and they say that the ghosts hang around people, but in this case, that can't be the situation. Although it did only affect one of the young girls. Remember, this Bill claimed he lived in the house. He's obviously got some attachment to that house.
Yes, it's quite strange because for family that's lived there after them, they don't want to talk about it, don't want to know anything about it, and I think,
Better get people out some taking photos.
yeah, from what I heard, they're quite fed up with that.
Well, I don't know. Who knows? But how come they don't experience the ghost of Bill?
It's a interesting aspect, but then again, as we've both debated before, the ghost of Bill, it happened for a few years, but like you said, the mother that lived in a house for 30 more years and nothing happened. So, did he just get point across or do his unfinished business within those few years and then decided to move on?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't sound very likely. I mean, this was a big profile case back in the day. And we said before about the police who claimed they saw a Lego block be thrown. And when they picked it up, apparently it was hot.
Yeah. But then again,
What's that about?
the
What you
Lego
think
block
you saw, isn't it?
is interesting because it wasn't just one police officer that made a statement, it was actually a few of them that made a statement. And of course,
Being police as well.
unless they help out or do anything, it was out of their category. I guess really one of the things we should touch upon is Morris Gross, because of course in many different TV programs, books, he's, I guess depending on which one you watch, he can come across as a very different person depending on who's playing him.
He, surely before the poltergeist case of Enfield, he had a bit of a tragedy in his family. I think it was his daughter or something had died before, not long beforehand. And so he was kind of almost people where he was a little bit emotionally involved. In actual fact, he was taken off the case several times by SPR, who said actually, and this didn't exist, who said actually we're going to take off the case and get other people in it. But why would they do that?
Well, of course, like in BBC, I was going to say documentary, but I guess series about it. A lot of people believe that he came too close to a family and it was impacting his research. Of course, that's only one point of view. We don't actually know personally if he did or didn't. But, maybe if they were just a bit worried that rather than investigating it, he was believing everything the family did actually say.
Now, news spread of this situation, and so the Warrens, if you've seen the Conjuring movies, you'll know all about the Warrens. They paid a visit to this house. Now, what we're saying is, this family, the Hodgsons, moved into this council house in Enfield, near London, and they believed shortly after, to kind of recap on what happened, there was lots of noises one night when the girls were in bed. The girls were aged 11 and 13, so Janet and Margaret. And the mum, I think her name was Penny, heard things happening and went up there to turn them off. And when she went up there, she told them off, said, stop mucking about, go to bed. And they said, we didn't do anything. we haven't touched anything. It moved on its own. Now, being a mother, you probably think, yeah, all right, whatever. Paul, you put him a leg. She turned around. She claimed she saw a cabinet with a lamp on move on its own, and that was enough to call the Daily Mail, Mirror, whatever it was. From there, things seemed to escalate, and it seemed like a ghost of a former resident was making contact through voice recordings, so EVPs, we call it in the paranormal, on recordings, but also through the one of the girls, if you like. So he was able to put his voice through this teenage girl and tell him information. He said his name was Bill. He said he died in the chair downstairs in the front room, in the living room. That chair, I think, from what I gathered, that the chair was still there when his family moved in. And as it started to go out to the press and it became more, I guess, popular and people started getting invested in it, somebody came forward and said, I do know my relative was called Bill and he did die in that chair in the house. That's what we're going with here. But was that the case? I mean, it is possible that he could have found the information out before, somebody could have slipped in the name by mistake. Or is it really the ghost of a former resident communicating through the girl who is there now? Don't know each other in their physical body. The house is still there. It's still very much there. And like I said, the lady, the mum, lived in there for a good 30 years afterwards. Nothing was ever reported again. And still now there's a family in there who, to my knowledge, they don't talk about it, but never reports anything either. So why did it only happen for basically 2 years?
It's very interesting. The thing is, there's some evidence that's very hard to deny, like for different statements and everything else. But then again, I know we're never going to agree on this or disagree. There is some evidence to say that they were faking stuff. Now, a lot of people, of course, like you said, didn't like Morris Gross because he just lost his daughter. And they felt that he was literally looking for an answer to believe in the paranormal. And, you know, was it Bill? Was it someone else? It's a good question. I personally do believe it was Bill because the information does point in that direction. But it's just hard going by all the evidence to say something, you know, didn't happen. There has to have been something that did. But of course, yeah.
Does there? Does there
Not,
have to be something they did?
I know we said about, or you said about contacting the newspapers and stuff like that. But then again, years ago, the paranormal probably wasn't that common. It wasn't like just logging onto a web.
Oh, well, you say that because it was after the Victorian times, and that was when it was very popular.
Yeah, true. But
And we had Borley Rectory in the 40s and 30s, all these kind of things. So there was very much still a lot of publicity around ghosts. Still, no matter what it was, even if I didn't know about ghosts or not, you wouldn't call a newspaper, would you?
I guess it's up to everyone personally. Calling a newspaper does make it look suspicious, and like Alison mentioned, maybe it's to do with money or something like that. But maybe on another occurrence, if she didn't know where else to go, who else would you contact?
The police, 999, surely.
But didn't the police go around it and say there's nothing they could do?
Yeah, because they called him afterwards, because I believe the paper said you should call the police.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Even so, we've got loads of poltergeist stories. They're not the only poltergeist stories that have taken place around the world, because we've also got a very famous case known as Borley Rectory. So again, if anyone in the paranormal, you should know a little bit about Borley Rectory. So I want to bring that in right now because again, that's another very famous case. James, what do you know about good old Borley other than the fact it's not there now?
Borley Rectory, of course, there's different ways of putting it, of how it actually burned down, which is mystery, or should I say, a lot of people say by accident. Now,
Yeah, I believe it was an oil accident. It was in October or something, wasn't it?
even after the fire, people, and you had like ruins there, people were still seeing like bricks being thrown and stuff like that. And there's some very good pictures out there.
Yeah, yeah. So, looking at Boiler Rectory, another UK famous case, which again is not there anymore. Well, I mean the church is still there, I believe, but the actual house itself has been demolished in 1944 after the fire happened. Now this place was so haunted, and you got to remember in this case, reverends, vicars, what you want to call them, they were claiming to see paranormal activity. So much so that a well-known uh, psychic researcher, Harry Price, rented the house for about a year to see if he could get understanding of what caused this paranormal phenomena. So, now it was only built, I think it was built in about 1862, so it wasn't even that old really. Oh, James disappeared. We've now got an empty bedroom, which reminds me that I should decorate my house at some point soon. Maybe he's been possessed by the spirit of Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the room of nowhere. So yes, now Bill in 1862 for a rector and Borley and his family, and so not enough movement. He claimed he came across ghosts as well. So this time it was a young girl wandering outside. It was a ghost of a nun. Many other things that the BBC actually made a program about it in about 1956, something like that. But they had to be careful because they're worried about legal action taking place from a former resident. So Borley Rectory is not there anymore. Let's look at some of the hauntings of Borley Rectory, which first occurred weirdly a year after it was built in 1863. That was reports of strange footsteps. And then in 1900 was the next one where four daughters of the rector, Henry Dawson Ellis Ball, that's a long name, isn't it? Saw what they thought was a ghost of a nun at twilight, about 40 yards from the house. When they tried to talk to the nun simply disappeared. So none of it. Good old James this evening. Is he asleep? Is he praying? What's he doing?
No.
Anybody's there? Oh, he's still there. Even Leslie was debating, but I was reading a book, ladies and gentlemen. Leslie's joined us. Welcome to the show this evening. We're talking about Borley Rectory. Do you think it's real? Enfield Poltergeist as well. Okay, so then we had instances including a phantom coach being driven by headless horsemen, and basically a whole plethora of strange phenomena for not just one, but several families of directors who lived there. Okay, so Harry Price, well known, still is very well known, although he's not here now. Investigated Drury Lane Theatre, loads of places. He's got a museum or sort of library after him, research centre. He rented the house for about a year so he could see if he could find the hauntings for himself, and he claimed to come across quite a lot. James, what do you think about this haunting? Calm down, a little bit at a time. James, I think he's possessed. Ladies and gentlemen, what do we do? He has frozen in time. So, we've got two cases here. We've got Borley Rectory, and we've got James is frozen. And believe me, it's not a flattering picture. Please start make this your profile picture on Facebook. Oh, he's gone! Dear God, I'll tell you what, his connection is terrible, I tell you. He's always blaming his PC. So, yes, Enfield Poltergeist, was it real? Wasn't it? Let's hear your thoughts on that. And also on Borley Rectory. Now, the house itself isn't there anymore, but I believe the church still is, so people still go down there looking for ghosts. You don't want it, it doesn't make the residents very happy. I'm not going to lie to you. But again, two very famous cases in the UK. So, let's hear your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Do you believe in poltergeists? Are they real? What have you experienced if you think they are? I think James is filming that movie in the woods, isn't he? If you're there, James, please give me a sign.
Can you hear me?
I'm not sure. This is like some sort of most haunted filming right now.
Yeah, all it is. I'm trying to
James, try and tell us, do you believe in poltergeists? What are they?
Poltergeist. Well, technically, a poltergeist is
The live on Channel 4, please don't swear.
or moves object. Now, of course, a lot of people associate poltergeists as being really evil and really negative, but that's not actually the case. But I think over the years, news and the media, that's what it's associated poltergeist with. But I do believe in poltergeists. My first paranormal experience was with a poltergeist when I was about 6 years old. And for anyone
I'm
that's
sorry.
listening,
It's hard to take you seriously when you've got a cat there. Some sort of rocking going on. I'm not sure what is going on over that side of the fence, but over this side, we're pretty alright. He's getting attacked by cats. What's going on? I think he's being attacked by someone now. I think the ghost is coming for him. Now we've got a picture. Now that is James's bed. That's his boudoir right now. Have a little tour. This is like cribs, isn't it?
it's not going to stay.
Are you filming cribs?
No. No. Stay.
So,
Hello.
tell me
Yes.
what poltergeist activity you experienced.
Well, I've experienced quite a lot over my time, but like I was saying,
Oh, we can see that, yeah. I mean, they're affecting the camera and everything.
my first paranormal experience was when I was 6 years old. I was in a cupboard underneath the stairs in a family,
Like you do, yeah, yeah.
and a cup was thrown off a shelf,
Harry Potter.
smashed on my back.
Oh, what, smashing your back?
A cup.
A cup. Making a mug out of you, weren't they?
Literally, there's no one else around. The cup did actually come off a shelf and yeah, just got launched towards my back. And that was one of the first paranormal experiences I can actually remember.
So you were 6 years old.
Hmm.
How do you react to that? Obviously, going ouch because it probably hurt.
I think at the time, what's going on? Where did that come from? I couldn't quite work it out, even though okay, I was only little at the time. I just, you know, what was that? And that was when the person I was with said, "Oh yeah, and this house is haunted. Sometimes the ghost does play up."
Right. I bet you made you feel like a right mug.
Must took you ages to think of that.
Oh, we can hear him. There's some satellite delays going on. Right? I'm talking to someone in Australia, isn't it?
Right.
Okay, so that was the first experience. What is your most memorable poltergeist experience?
I still got to say, I know we mentioned it before. You know what I'm going to say for table incident. Can you actually hear me?
Which one? Sorry.
I said,
We just about, yeah, we can hear you. You said something about a table.
yeah, for table, lifting up at Buckingham House. I know we.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty awesome.
But then again, I've seen so much. I've seen chairs move, doors open. It's been a mixture. I know I've been a lot of the times I've been with yourself, and I think sometimes poltergeist activity is very interesting because it's very hard to explain how. I remember once, if you remember, was with someone else and was at a previous building we used to live in. And we went upstairs and a table moved from one side of the room to the other. Well,
It did. Good question from Sophie right now, who says, "What is the difference between a poltergeist and a ghost?" Now, I feel in a little bit it's before James tells you about the ghost side of things, but some parapsychologists believe the poltergeists are not ghosts at all; they're just a form of energy able to do something. From a spiritual point of view, hit us up, James.
from point of view, it's quite interesting. It really depends who you speak to, because I know we've had a lot of conversations before. What is the difference between a ghost and what's the difference between a spirit? Now, a lot of people actually believe they're different. Some people say a ghost is more like that haunts a location because it's spooky and stuff like that, where a spirit is more of like a family member that comes back to visit or comes through a reading. To me personally, I believe they're both the same thing, but it's one of those things, depending on who you speak to, they may have a different belief.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, can we just please give it up for James's collection of tatty teddies in the cabinet behind him?
They're not
They're
actually mine.
immense. Look at them. Wow, you say that. Alice has been in touch, so I've only had one poltergeist experience when my first daughter was born. I took her to see my granny a year after my granddad had died. He made himself known by making a jar full of pens drop straight down from his shelf to the floor. It was like floating down. Alice, did that scare you, or did it make you feel reassured? Let us know on that one. Leslie, question for you, James. Is poltergeist activity mainly aggressive?
I
Well, perhaps we can ask the cat.
I think personally, this is where a lot of people get a bit. I don't know, don't quite understand the poltergeist activity. I think personally, a lot of ghosts or poltergeists or spirits, whatever you want to call them, they see it as someone going into their house. And like me or you now, if someone came in that we didn't know, we're going to try doing anything to get them out. Now,
Well, wouldn't the moment? Yeah, definitely. We're in isolation.
my main belief is, well, yeah, of course, but my main belief is that sometimes a person doesn't always know if they've passed over, so if they're still seeing it as their home and how they used to have it, then all of a sudden someone else is in there, and of course they're going to
Yeah.
try to get that person out, whether it's throwing pots and pans around or cups or whatever. But then, of course, saying that, you do have other poltergeists that are aggressive and does just want to make trouble.
I think if I was a poltergeist, I'd like to make a bit of trouble. Alison, on the back of what you said a moment ago about her experience, that she felt reassured, like you were saying hello to the new baby. I think that's quite a nice thing. Though it's still scary, but yeah, a nice reassuring thing. So poltergeists can be nice as well. They really can.
What's that?
You still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, you still here?
Yeah.
Just about, just about. So, okay, so we're saying poltergeists then are sometimes nice. Sometimes they don't know they're. I mean, how would you really try and approach a ghost who doesn't know they're dead?
But then again, another thing is, like I said earlier, with the media and with the films and that, how many films out there do you know about a noise poltergeist?
What, Casper?
Okay, Casper, and maybe you got the film Ghost, and
But for a horror movie, though, it wouldn't be that entertaining if the ghost was nice, would it?
well, no. If you think about it, you can probably think of many horror films that's had a evil poltergeist in it or evil ghost. There's hundreds of films.
Yeah, and apparently while filming these things, some have even had ghost experiences.
Yeah, I was actually reading an article on the other day. It was to do with The Exorcist, Linda Blair and everything else. Now, apparently, when they was filming that, a lot of poltergeist activity went on around the set. And exactly the same for the film for Poltergeist. There was many people that believed there was a curse around the film.
Well, I think it's fair to say The Exorcist back in the day scared a lot of people. A lot of people. Now you watch it and you think actually it's not that scary. I mean, again, that was based on a real life situation to a degree. You know, in the movie, it's a girl, of course. In real life, it was a boy, and it did kind of happen. True that he was moved from one province to another, to one town to another. Um, But yeah, I agree with Leslie here that most poltergeists tend to be, for whatever reason, whether it's media, whether it's just because it's more interesting, seem to be associated with not so nice stuff.
Yeah.
Is that because they're more assertive with coming through? If there's a line of ghosts wanting to communicate, would an aggressive poltergeist be more likely to come through than perhaps a nice person's a ghost?
Yeah. I guess it's one of those things. If it was a fight between, I'll say fight, but like you had two ghosts there, a nice ghost and a nasty ghost, maybe for the nasty ghost or evil ghost is going to make more of an effort to come through because they're annoyed at something and they want to put their point across. Where if a nice ghost might just say, oh, well, I can't be bothered with this, I'll do it another day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what other poltergeist stories can you tell us?
What? Personal ones or the ones out
You
there?
could, famous ones, if you like.
Famous ones. You've got many different famous ones. The ones I personally like is, of course, you have got the Enfield. I know we spoke about that. Bully Rectory. You've got many different places you can actually say that had poltergeist activity. There's even back in the 1960s, there's even a case in Milton and Portsmouth to do with poltergeist. And you hear stories about poltergeists all the time. And it's strange. They are everywhere. I do find
I
it
I talk about it quite a lot. One of the cases I always remember back in the I think it was early 90s. I remember was actually it was an American one. And I remember watching this TV program as a kid called it was an American program called Fighting. You probably heard me talk about it before. It was like a pilot about UFOs originally, and then it was so popular in America and made it into a TV show. And it was kind of like a news program about the paranormal, um, and it hosted by a guy called Tim White. And it went on for a fair few years, good 10 years, I think. It's a program called Sightings. You can find it on YouTube. It's worth watching. They went to investigate this place called Sally's House in America, and it was a man who claimed that he was being attacked by a poltergeist. He said it kept happening, and he couldn't explain it. And so what he did was he said this ghost kept getting scratches on him all over his body, aggressive scratches. So what they did was they locked up a camera on him with no. Basically, he was sounds really weird. This he was tied up to stop him from scratching himself to prove it wasn't him. And as they were filming, you would hear him go, "Oh, you just scratched me," and as his scratches come up, as if it just happened, and you could see no one had done it because it was there. Now, for me, that was a really interesting story. Back in those days, on sightings, the man who was experiencing it didn't want his identity known, so his face was blurred throughout the whole thing. In more recent days, it kind of ruined a little bit because Paranormal Witness, a TV show a couple of years ago, covered it, and they mentioned sightings being there, but they then started to make up that this ghost was a demon and kind of went a little bit off key of what it originally was about. Then Zach's been there from Ghost Adventures. It's become a bit more publicised now. The man now does reveal himself. But if you go back and watch sightings on YouTube and watch Sally's House, it's quite extraordinary these things happen. Now, from my point of view, experiencing poltergeist activity myself, well, yeah, I mean, I lived at a famous manor that we probably may or may not know, and I've seen some strange things as well. I mean, I remember waking up one night and the alarm would go off quite regularly. It would tell you which part of the house the alarm was activated. You go down there and no one was there. And you go, oh, okay, it's a bit weird. Go back upstairs, you set the alarm again. Half an hour or so, it goes off again. And this time I decided to go downstairs to find out again. James was with me. And as he went downstairs, we both saw a picture frame, which was nailed to the wall, come off, and literally just miss us before falling on the floor. And that was nailed down in a historic building. It'd been there for quite a long time. What did that happen? I also saw a table in that particular house as well, which moved across. And out of fact, I got there first. I think it was me that opened the door when the table moved. and the guy behind me, who got a little bit scared, fell on the stairs. He was so scared. So there's been loads of strange occurrences where you see poltergeist activity. Actually, I remember Buckingham House as well at one point, where there was a big bang on the table. And when we turned the light on, we all saw something move. We turned the light on, it was like a rock that had been thrown in as well. I think we've got a picture of it somewhere on one of our pages. We're lucky that no one got hurt, really. But again, that kind of activity, where would that rock have come from? And I've been in a pub in Southampton as well, where we heard another noise which hit a barrel, a metallic barrel. And when we turned the light on, there was an old English coin that had been thrown and hit it as well. Now I didn't see it, but you kind of felt something go across you and hit something. But how does that happen? James, can you beat that?
I think the thing is, it's awkward because a lot of experiences we have actually shared together. Um, of course, in a haunted manor, there's lots of stuff happening at certain times. It was strange because, as you well know, living there most of the time, nothing actually happened. It was only, say, 5% of a year where things used to happen. And I think only time that, or one of the times where you wasn't there, where things did happen, and that was you could hear things moving upstairs, tables and chairs being moved. There's no one physically up there, and then the doors would open and close. Now, the scary thing was, is even though it was a haunted story out there for many, many years, when one of the doors opened, you could actually hear a baby crying, clear as anything. Now, for other activity, I know one you haven't mentioned, which could be classed as a poltergeist, is one night when we went down to Netley Abbey many, many years ago when it was open, and we investigated it. At the back, at the Abbott's Lodge, there's me and Andrew, and was calling out, seeing what we could get to happen. And Andrew went to walk in, and straight away, whatever was in there pushed Andrew back out. And funny enough, he landed on the floor, face down. And of course, you being yourself, you got back up and went straight back in there to have a go at a ghost.
Well, of course, that's what I want to be there for.
And there's even other times.
Leslie's purse. No, go for it.
Was that at certain times of the year? The strange thing was, I don't think it was so much certain times, but it was more or less about a time of the night, and it was always mainly between 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, okay, a lot of people may know or may be aware 3 o'clock is what some people say is a witching hour or the devil's hour, more or less because Christ was supposed to die at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We first it to darkness, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And of course, a lot of people say when people pass over, it's normally around about early hours of morning, 3 o'clock, and everything else. So it's more to do with, I would say, time than anything, rather than certain times of the year. But then again, you could technically say maybe it was an anniversary ghost or something like that, but it's very hard trying to track that down unless you're there for quite a few many years and you actually spot those dates. And I'm just trying to think other poltergeists.
Yeah,
There's just so many.
I think the house we lived at, there was a few times where for weeks nothing would happen, then all of a sudden all hell would break loose, literally.
See, I know we experienced quite a lot at Buckingham House, Fountain House, and there's even been for odd times at Fort Widley. Now, for those of you who are watching, normally nothing happens, or not too much happens at Fort Widley, where things are being thrown. But there's even one occasion where, if you remember, blocks of wood were actually being thrown. And
yeah, something can get a little bit creepy when you get things physically thrown.
yeah, it wasn't at anyone. There's only 3 or 4 of us in the whole fort at a time, and this area sadly now blocked off. But it was just constantly things being thrown in that area.
Yeah, I mean, these things happen whether you believe in it being a ghost, whether you think someone's done it and not owned up to it. The important part about working in paranormal is being able to trust the people you work with. That way, if you know something happened or something happened, you can rule out someone did it intentionally. Because sadly, there are groups out there, for whatever reason, do fake things. But that's something we definitely do not do on our real ghost hunts.
Yeah, I think it's sad. There is a lot of groups out there with different views, and it's one of those things. Some groups believe they should fake stuff to gain customers and get customers to come back because they're going to say, "Oh my God, this happened tonight. It's really been amazing." Which I think I would 100% prefer nothing to happen, and if it happened, it happened. If it don't, it don't, because that's how it should be. It's pointless investigating for paranormal if people fake stuff.
So yeah, we James wasn't here for this one. We won't say what place it was, but originally Leslie was there, I was there, Tom was there, and Philip who are online right now watching, and we this was really weird because it was a private investigation. So it was about five of us who all know each other. We know we'll never fake anything. Um, in fact, actually, nothing had happened all night, but it was quite a quiet night to the point where, like, go have a bit of a break, you know, a bit of team bonding, whatever. And as it got towards about 11ish, I think it was, one of the members said, "Oh, come on, come forward, like, you know, bit of frustration, not aggressive, just, you know, kind of tension a little bit. We did a glass experiment. The glass moved. Now, that doesn't sound odd because that does happen in these experiments. And when I say moved, we weren't doing a Ouija board, we don't do Ouija boards, we had a spirit board, which is very different. Basically, the laminate with letters on it. And this ghost was spelling out all sorts of weird stuff, very weird stuff. And it was things like we got names. It told us that it was a ghost that it lived in Leeds, of all places. It said it kept telling us not to laugh. What are you laughing at? And we were asking questions. It was spelling out why. And normally, when you do these experiments, you kind of know when people could be made up because it normally comes up with gobbledygook when it spells out words. Bear in mind that people didn't have the ability to write that well back years ago. This particular incident, it was giving us very precise information. You know, managed to get in the fact that name. What else did it tell us? Tommy, you have to remind me because it said something like, what else did it say? I know it said don't what you laughing at or don't laugh and stuff like that. I can't remember. There was some spooky stuff as well that was said. Oh yeah, I like to hide in the dark. I said I like to hide in the dark. I like to scare people, and that's weird. It's very weird. Oh yes, Laura Leslie said, "Why did you ask me here?" Now, bear in mind we were south of England. We were nowhere near Leeds. This spirit said, "You've never ever been to where we were." How did that happen? How did a ghost from Leeds, who said, "Why did you ask me here?" How did that happen? James, what do you think?
I know there's many different theories. I bring up the first one, and that is ley lines. I've heard time and time again some people say ley lines is like a train surface full for ghosts that they can hop on and hop off. Whether that's the case or not, but then again, the most likely one I believe, if that person was from Leeds and you were at a hotel, maybe he was a guest of a hotel. Now, for whatever
No, he'd
reason,
never been there.
no,
He'd never even visited the city we're in. If assume that was the truth, but also said, "Why did you ask me here? You know what I did, and look behind you."
unless, but how do you know he was telling the truth?
Well, don't.
Because by that is, he might be guilty of in that area or in that hotel, but of course he stuck there for whatever reason. Now he's saying he's from Leeds, but it's never been there because maybe if he says he's been there, it's almost like admitting to the murder or something
I
along
think,
those lines.
yeah. scary part is it did for whatever reason spell out 666, which is a bit scary in itself. But I think that's a ghost probably trying to scare us. I don't know.
There is.
He didn't know where we were.
It's. I don't know.
Or who we were.
But then again, before, I know it's going to sound far fetched to some people, of where maybe a portal was opened up and something walked through.
I think basically you're jealous you weren't there.
Maybe a bit. Maybe a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was extraordinary. I remember Leslie, who's, me and Leslie we're very grounded. We tend to pick up a lot of stuff together, or whatever. But Leslie was like, "What is going on? What's happening here? This is." We all were a little bit like mesmerised as how this could happen. We weren't scared. I mean, I weren't scared, but we were more like, we've gone from mostly nothing happening to now everything happening in the space of a couple of minutes. It was just very, very weird scenario to be in. Very
Yes.
weird. Keep saying didn't like us. Why you call me here? What's up with that? Why are you calling me? All these kind of strange things. So yeah, it was absolutely extraordinary. Let's hopefully we get to experience that again soon. Hopefully when lockdown's finished. He then said, I don't want, as Leslie's filling us in here, he didn't want to leave, or refusing to leave even.
There is something I want to touch upon. I know you mentioned it earlier with the whole demons thing and everything else. When we mention about poltergeist, I think it's very interesting. In the UK, we would refer to like an angry spirit or something like that as a poltergeist. Where if you're out in America, they would actually refer to it as a demon.
Well, that's a whole other ballpark to go into. Was all down to your religious beliefs and stuff. So his name was George. Yeah, fairly common name, but who knows? It was no doubt fantastic stuff. Well, look, I think it's been absolutely amazing talking about poltergeist and seeing it. Of course, we're going to keep these going as time goes on because we don't know how long lockdown's going to go on for, and we should say, and when we mean it as well, a big thank you to everybody in the NHS, anybody who does care work, anybody who works in the shops, keeping the country going. Whatever you're doing to support it, a massive thank you, right, James?
Yes, thank you to everyone. Thank you for the NHS, and thank you to everyone out there at the moment that is still having to go out and work, like myself. But I think
Well, working for you is a bit of a strong word, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it's fantastic at the moment. Everyone is doing what they can, and it's bringing everyone together in a way. Like even you said the other night, and when it was 8 o'clock yesterday, everyone was out on my street, clapping, banging pots and pans. You had the boats going off. I think, in a way, it is amazing to see.
It was. I even had the horns going down the docks and stuff yesterday, which is the ships down there, which is these people are inspirations. And really, guys, all we can be saying to you is make sure that you do stay safe. There's we said about carers, we said about shops. Let's not forget firemen, police, everybody does what they have to do to keep this country and keep the world safe. It's a very, very turbulent time. Now, as I was saying, we don't know when we're going to be back doing ghost hunts. We do hope that we're able to do our July one, which is at the Diving Museum, but we'll see how things go. There's no ghost tours this month at the moment. We're waiting to see what happens, but Southampton, Portsmouth, and Winchester definitely will not take the place this month, sadly. And it's a big, sad decision for us because we love doing what we do, but it is in the interest of the safety of everybody, of course. Now, one big thing as well, I notice there's more people about today. Don't stay in isolation, stay in lockdown, unless you really need to go out and get essentials or have to go to work. or do one exercise routine a day, don't go out. Don't. I've seen some people where I live going out 6 times a day for essentials. You can't be needing to go out that many times. Don't do it. Keep everybody safe. And of course, we'll keep you in these lives, and please keep supporting us. Like a lot of businesses in the UK right now, they're suffering because they haven't got the income they normally would. But thank you so much for joining us this evening. And one thing we'll say before we do go, you might notice a bit of a logo change up in the little corner here. It says Supernatural News. James, what is that about?
Supernatural News has been around for many years. Now, of course, originally we did launch it as a magazine, but just recently we have decided to move a podcast over to Supernatural News, and of course, make it more about a paranormal, and have live videos, doing live recordings from locations. So basically, if you are stuck at home, of course, we'll be doing more after for lockdown, but if you are stuck at home, we're going to try to do as much as me and Andrew can to interact with everyone. Because, of course, the paranormal, it is our passion. And if we can talk about it, and of course, make you entertained at home, that's brilliant. But of course, there's a lot more coming.
Don't do ghost hunting. Unless you're in your own home, don't do ghost hunting.
No. I will actually say there is actually, sadly, a few groups out there doing ghost hunting. My advice is, as Andrew said, stay at home, stay safe.
Yes, absolutely. So please, if you are, please go on our YouTube page. We've got a YouTube page for Supernatural News. We've also got a like page for it as well. So please want to subscribe and like both of those pages so we can get this out there and get the job, get all rolling and in action over the next few weeks. We'll let you know when our next broadcast is going to be. And maybe you've got a suggestion for what we could talk about.
Yes, indeed.
Leslie's put try a house party. Believe me, when this is all over, we'll need a house party. We'll need a big old party, won't we?
It'll be like 1999.
Yeah, all over again. Until next time, though, thanks again to James for being here. Thank you to all of you interacting at home as well. We'll see you very soon and stay safe.
See you later.